water. It comes from the clouds and falls down and makes everything wet. The shuffle of the shoppers and their damp, drippy feet. But sad, soggy socks and droopy hats and wet hair in tangles like raggedy rats tell us perhaps that playtime should pause. Let's hurry back home and dry off indoors.
Sometimes when it's rainy, you have to wear your coat, waterproof gloves. They don't let water in if you splash them. A hat. If you had a hood as well, you could put your hood on and your Wellington boots, so you don't get your feet wet. You can go in. You get an umbrella and hold it. It'll stop the rain going on your head and the rain will go into the umbrella. Once I went out in the rain with no umbrella and my hair got soaking wet. I'd always get wet and I had to take them in to dry them. The rain drips on the flower's seed. It makes them grow. Frogs and toads like the water. They go back into their habitat. We go back into our habitat when it rains. That's our house.
Having an umbrella to keep the rain off can be very useful. Look at how the rain drips off the ends of the spokes of the umbrella. But in some places, it rains for only a few weeks in a year. For instance, in India, it rains in the summer. They have sloping roofs there too. This rain is given a special name. It's called a monsoon. After the dry heat of the rest of the year, everyone looks forward to the monsoon. They want the rain to water their crops. If rain doesn't come on time, or doesn't come at all, this gives everyone a huge problem, and often there isn't enough to eat, because plants don't get watered, and so crops don't grow, and often die. They also collect the rain to use as drinking water. All the animals and plants need the rain too. Leaves of trees in India have their own spokes to let water drip off. The rain fills up rivers and ponds so that fish and other creatures can grow and live there. Rain is welcome. People in India celebrate. Children go out to play. Everyone's really happy when the monsoon comes. Cherrapunji in India gets the most rain in the whole world. In 1 month, over 30 feet of rain fell here. This is the place where it rains more often than anywhere else. It's Mount Waialaealai in Hawaii, and here it rains for 360 days in a year. Or to put it another way, there are about 5 days in a year when it doesn't rain. When it rains too much, rainwater can cause a flood. Even though it's unusual, floods do happen in the UK. Trickles become streams, streams become rivers, and rivers get too full and can sometimes overflow so that water spreads all over the land nearby. But when it doesn't rain for a long time, rivers can completely dry up. We start to run out of water and we can have a drought. There isn't enough water for the grass to grow and it turns from green to brown. In some places, they have so little water that they have to have it delivered by lorry. Some places in the world hardly ever get rain at all. These places have land which is very dry. These are deserts, like the Sahara Desert in Africa, the biggest desert in the world. Here, it rains less than 12 centimeters in 1 year. The animals and people of the Sahara are used to having very little water. They get most of their water from small places in the desert called oases. These are the only places in the desert where they can get water from deep in the ground. The people and animals can drink, and palm trees can grow. Everyone fills up tanks of water at the oasis before they go on long journeys across the desert with their camels. Camels save water too. They can manage without any water at all for up to 10 days. Give them a drink, and they can drink an astonishing 136 litres in one go. That's like several baths full. They store this water within their bodies for when they need it later.
Pit-pat, pit-a-pat. Oh, the rain came down. Baby Duck was cross. She did not like walking in the rain, but she loved Grandpa, who was waiting on the other side of town. Pit-pat, pit-a-pat. Follow us! Mr. and Mrs. Duck left the house arm in arm. Wet feet, wailed Baby. And wet face. Don't dawdle, dear. Grandpa was waiting at the front door when they arrived. Wet feet? Yes. Wet face? Yes. I've never heard of a duck who doesn't like rain, worried Mrs. Duck. Grandpa took Baby's hand. They went upstairs to the attic, where there was a beautiful red umbrella and matching boots, too. Baby opened the umbrella, and the boots were just the right size. After that, Baby and Grandpa went outside. Baby Duck and Grandpa walked arm in arm in the rain. They waddled, they shimmied, they hopped in all the puddles. Now I really love this rainy day.
There are hard rain when it's raining like mad. It can rain cats and dogs. And you get quite grey clouds. And then you have to go inside. You'll be safe not soaking wet. You can even have a storm in the night. Horrible and spitting down rain. Drizzle was like dribbling tiny bits of rain. Little drops about small like ladybirds. Looks like somebody's crying in the sky. In the hot countries, rain is hot and it feels like you're having a hot shower. It's clouds coming down. It's just like fog. You can't see really anything because of the rain and drops on the wet.
Sailors used to know when it was going to rain just by looking at the clouds. They didn't have weather forecasts on radio or television in those days. If they first saw high, wispy clouds that looked like horsetails, giving way to big, puffy clouds that looked like flocks of sheep, followed by even bigger puffy clouds that looked like big, big bundles of wool, they knew that rain was on the way. But the biggest clouds of all are thunderclouds. They're huge. They grow so big and tall that they eventually turn into thunderstorms. Then it rains really heavily. Thunderclouds make big sparks called lightning and big bangs which follow called thunder. In olden days, people thought that the lightning was made by a giant called Thor, who fought his enemies on the tops of clouds and threw spears at them. If a spear missed, it fell out of the sky as lightning. Lightning is a really large spark made of electricity. It's also very hot. Lightning usually finds the quickest way to the ground, and so often strikes the tallest things first. If lightning strikes a tree, it can make it explode. People have been killed by lightning, but you can avoid it. The safe thing to do is run indoors and close all your windows in a thunderstorm. But if you're outside, just crawl into a small ball near the ground. But don't shelter under a tree, because the lightning might strike it. The rain from a thunderstorm can be so heavy that it causes a flood and washes the soil away. If the rain from a thundercloud gets cold, it turns to ice and falls as hail. Hailstones can be big enough to break windows. Farmers had special sayings to forecast the rain.
Mackerel sky, never long wet and never long dry.
They were looking for lots of small, puffy clouds that looked like the belly of a mackerel, and they tell of light showers on the way.
Red sky in the morning, shepherd's warning.
This means that the weather could turn bad, and the shepherd needs to bring in his sheep.
Red sky in the night, shepherd's delight.
A red sunset shows that the next day will probably be nice. When it rains too much, a trickle becomes a stream becomes a river. If the rainfall is extreme, the river overflows. The flow becomes a flood, leaving fields and houses knee-deep in river mud. But don't complain when the rain is bucketing down again. Water we get keeps everything wet. We need it very much, so shout hooray for the rain. It's cats and dogs again. Plenty of showers are good for the flowers as long as it doesn't rain too much. When it rains too little, everything dries out. Rivers run out of water. No water means a drought. Each animal and plant starts to hang its head, praying for a rain cloud to gather overhead. But don't complain when the rain is bucketing down again. The water we get keeps everything wet. We need it very much, so shout hooray for the rain. It's cats and dogs again. Plenty of showers are good for the flowers as long as it doesn't rain too much. Plenty of showers are good for the flowers as long